Good morning, students. Let us continue with the module 5 tools and techniques, and we will discuss the last part of this module, that is QMS and EMS. So, the topics to be discussed today are QMS, that is Quality Management Systems, and EMS, that is Environment Management Systems. The first part, that is Quality Management System, this you have studied in the first module, in the last part of the first module. Just let's have a brief review of the QMS, and we will study the EMS a little bit more. So, International Organization for Standardization was founded in 1946 in Geneva, that is in Switzerland. Its mandate is to promote development of international standards to facilitate the exchange of goods and service worldwide. ISO Technical Committee developed a series of ISO standards, that is international standards, ISO 9000, ISO 9001 and ISO 9004 for quality systems, which were first published in 1987. Most countries have adopted the ISO 9000 series as their national standards. Like in USA, ANSI bar ASQ. Similarly, in India, BIS, that is Bureau of Indian Standards, adopt ISO certification standards. A quality system registration involves the assessment and periodic surveillance audit of adequacy of supplier's quality system by a third party who is a registrar. So, there are three series of standards, ISO series. You have studied this, as I said earlier, in the first module, last part. ISO 9000 2005, which talks about fundamentals and vocabulary. Second, ISO 9001 2008, which talks about the requirements. Third one, ISO 9004 2000, which talks about the guidelines for performance improvement. And you have studied the ISO 9001 requirements and the implementation of QMS also. Next, moving to the second topic today, that is Environmental Management System, EMS. Just a little bit background about the EMS. ISO completed the quality management system in 1987. Its worldwide success, along with increased emphasis on environmental issues, were instrumental in ISO's decision to develop environmental management system. So once QMS, that is quality management system, was established, the same concept can be applied for EMS. This came to the many quality people. In 1991, ISO formed the Strategic Advisory Group on the Environment, that is SAGE, which led to the formation of Technical Committee TC 207 in 1992. So, a committee was formed that was TC 207 Technical Committee in 1992. After that, the mission of Technical Committee 207 was to develop standards for an environmental management system, which was identified as ISO 14000. So, EMS, that is Environmental Management System, are having a separate ISOs series, that is ISO 40. They start with ISO 14000, so ISO 14000, ISO 14001, like that. Experience with ISO 9000 made it easier to develop ISO 14000, and a subsequent revision of ISO 9000 capitalized on many of the improvements in ISO 14000. So already they were experienced a lot in QMS. So that experience will help to develop easily the standards in EMS also. So what is an EMS? An environmental management system is a framework that helps an organization achieve its environmental goals through consistent review, evaluation, and improvement of its environmental performance. So it's a framework. It helps organization to achieve its environmental goals through consistent review and evaluation, and finally improvement of environmental performance. So as I said, ISO 14000 and ISO 14001 are the standards for EMS. So the latest is ISO 14001, that is EMS under ISO 14001. The most commonly used framework for an EMS is the one developed by International Organization for Standardization, that is ISO, for the ISO 14001 standard. So let's look at the EMS model, the concept of ISO 14001, the latest one. This standard provides organization with the elements of an environmental management system which can be integrated into other management systems to help environmental and economic goals. It describes the requirements for the registration or self-declaration of the organization's EMS. Demonstration of successful implementation of the system can be used to assure other parties that an appropriate EMS is in place. So, what are the requirements of ISO 14001 is mentioned in this EMS model. So, actually there are 6 requirements. First one is general requirement, and the next requirements are discussed in this EMS model, that is environment policy, then planning, implementation, checking and correction. The last one is management review. So, this is a model for EMS system, that is environmental management system. Let us see what are the requirements of this ISO 14001. The remaining 5 requirements are shown in this EMS model. The first one is the general requirement. Since it is a general requirement, it has been left. It was general for both QMS or any other type of management systems. Especially from second, third, fourth, fifth, and the last sixth are specifically applicable for EMS. So first one, general requirements. So general requirement is nothing but again establish, maintain, and continuously improve an EMS, which includes policy, planning, implementation, checking and corrective action, and management review. So all this will come under general requirements only. But the organization shall define and document the scope of its EMS. In this general requirement, the organization should define and document the scope of the EMS. Second requirement, that is environmental policy, which includes mission and values. It requires commitment, leadership, and direction for the environmental activities. Policy must be relevant to organization's nature, scale, and environmental impact of its products and services. It shall have clear reference to the defined scope. The policy provides a framework for setting and reviewing environmental objectives and targets. The policy must be documented, implemented, and maintained. It also must be communicated to all employees. The third requirement is planning. This area contains 3 elements: environmental aspects, that is the first one. Second one, legal and other requirements. Third one, objectives, target, and environmental management program or programs. Fourth requirement is implementation and operation. Again, this area contains 7 elements. First one, structure and responsibility. Second one, training, awareness, and competency. Third one, communication. Fourth one, EMS documentation. Fifth one, document control. Sixth, operational control. The last one, emergency preparedness and response. And the fifth requirement is checking and corrective action. So there are again 5 elements here. Let's just go through the elements only. So first one, monitoring and measuring. Second, evaluation of compliance. Third one, non-conformance and corrective and preventive action. The fourth one is the records. The last one is EMS audit. So these are the 5 elements in the checking and corrective action requirements. The last requirement of ISO 14001 is the management review or management review and revision, we can say. If applicable, it is required to ensure the continuing suitability and adequacy and effectiveness of EMS. Reviews should make use of information from audit reviews, performance information, changing circumstances, and commitment to continuous improvement. So these are all six basic requirements of ISO 14001. Again, there may be elements in the main requirements. Just I have gone through them, but you remember majorly these six requirements of ISO 14001. Finally, benefits of EMS. Basically, there are three benefits of EMS. First one, facilitate trade and remove trade barriers. Second, improve environmental performance of planet Earth. Third one, build consensus that there is a need for environmental management and a common terminology. So all these three are the benefits, major benefits of EMS. First, it removes the trade barrier. Second, it takes care of the planet Earth, how the Earth is performing related to the environmental performance. Last one, build consensus that there is a need for environmental management. So all must agree that there is a need for consensus for the environment management and a common terminology. Finally, coming to the conclusion about the EMS, as the environmental standards are developed and implemented worldwide, it will build worldwide consensus that there is a need to use ISO 14000 or 14001. In addition, a common terminology allows people in different countries to speak each other, thereby sharing improvement, ideas, prevention, information, and system problems. So there is a much need for an environmental management system in today's world. So this completes the last, that is the fifth module, with the discussion of QMS and EMS today. So please, for any doubts, let us know. I and Rahul sir will be here to clear your doubts, and I hope all of you will participate in today's quiz. Thank you.